to another podcast episode of On the Wagon, a sobriety podcast with a shot of comedy. Today we are recording from beautiful Miami, Florida. Me and Jenny are down here on a business convention vacation, we call it. We're here for a week, so wanted to record this and get this out, stay on track. One episode a week is what we're starting with. Today's kind of topic is how I'm, staying sober. We're over 90 days now. This is the longest I've been sober with no alcohol since probably I was 18 years old, which is crazy. 14 years later, sometimes you don't think you'd still be doing the same stuff that you were doing. But lifestyle change, mindset change. So this is an exciting podcast for me. I can kind of let everybody know, well, what am I doing differently, and what am I doing to help, change my life. A couple things. I decided not to go the AA route this time. The first time I went, I wasn't really fully into it anyways. Didn't have connection. And like I said, with my drinking issues and my problems, I was lucky enough that wasn't on a detox regimen by any means. I was only drinking once or twice a week, but very heavily. So it wasn't an actual, I needed it every day. But it was that physical allergy to alcohol. Once I had it, I had to drink as much as possible. So starting off, so when I decided to go sober, I kind of wrote down a few things like what can I do right now that can help me stay on my path to success or recovery. One thing is I really did is I decided to start reading. I wanted to read about alcoholism. I wanted to read other people's stories. I wanted to read about living a sober life, because my main life after high school had at some point it always involved drinking in my life, whether it was get-togethers, whether it was family functions, whether it was going out to eat. Even if I wasn't getting drunk, I would still have one or two or three or four at some of these things. And so I kind of said, well, let's see what other people are doing. So I read I've read a couple books already in 3 months, probably the most books I've read since college. The biggest one was like how to live a life, or how to live your life sober without fixing certain things in your life, fixing my job, fixing your relationship. It's not just the alcohol. Sometimes it's kind of your life, and that took me some time to figure out for myself. So doing kind of a personal inventory of, okay, what do I need fixed in my life? What don't I? Where do I want to be? Where am I currently sitting that I don't want to be? Stuff like that. So that's kind of what I did. So I went to the local library. Got my library card and really started researching and reading. Currently, I'm on a cool book right now. I just started it. It's by Sarah Hepola. It's called Blackout: Remembering the Things I Drank to Forget. Now, I'm pretty early in this book, but she's very much on the same page as I was. She's about 33 years old, drank for years, 14 years before that, so really close in age, but didn't drink every day. But when she drank, she found herself blacking out all the time and putting herself in crazy situations, and just always loved to go to bars, loved the social aspect of drinking. Didn't drink at home. Very similar to me. I never drank at home by myself. I always had to go somewhere to drink and be in public, at a public spot. Whether it was a bar, a restaurant type thing, or a party. I could never just be at my house. So very similar things. So I'm really into this right now. So that's been one really major factor, is reading. Second factor, which kind of has been going on since with my drink, has been my workout regimen. These last probably year and a half, 2 years, I've really focused on working out and running. With our supplements too that I sell, just been feeling really good, but I still had that mixture of these binge drinks in there where it would put me off for 4 to 5 days, where I'd have to retool my body to get feeling good again after some of these weekends. So continuing on the workout pace has been huge for me. Another thing that kind of goes along with the running has been, getting back involved in music, and listening to music. I know that sounds like such a simple thing, but when you're growing up in high school, that was always the big thing. Like, oh, what's the new music? Oh, what's the new rap artist? Oh, what's the new hip hop artist? Oh, what's the country star? Like, I was always on top of that music. Like, oh, this is this person, and the last, I would say, probably 5 to 6 years, I would say, I kind of got out of that. I didn't have a music playlist. I didn't have a workout playlist. I used to just kind of listen to podcasts during workouts, which is fine, and I still do that. But I've been kind of getting back into music, listening to some of my some artists, and obviously me being 32, I'm with there's some certain artists that you still stay with throughout. I'm very close to Drake in age, for instance, so I still listen to his new music. I've been on this Post Malone kick. I'm still listening to Justin Bieber, his new stuff. I still pop that in. What's the new? I know Jenny always picks on me for the new Jonas Brothers song. I like that one. It's just with the beats but I've been including those into my workouts. Been including those into my work day. Just kind of get that vibe going. Halsey is also another one. Right, I know people are going to be like, what are you listening to? Like, the true pop of artists out there right now. But I've been kind of diving into that. Still also have my old school jams, from the high school days, from the rap game, I guess you could say. But also, I do have my classic rock section too, with all the way from Queen, let's say, to who was my other one? I'll think of him. Like I said, I don't. I haven't been in it so long that I've been trying to just get all these type of different music groups in. So that's kind of one thing too, is kind of going back to music, which has really helped me out. So that's number 2. Number 3, one of the first things I did after kind of researching too is I found a podcast. Now it's pretty cool. It's called the Sobercast. And it's actually recorded AA speaker meetings. So what an AA speaker meeting is that is like usually one time, I think it's twice a month, where it's not just a group of people meeting and talking about how the AA works, but it's actually, they'll bring in a speaker to tell his story, and it's open to anybody. It's kind of like an open mic for AA. So that's what they do on that podcast. So it's really cool listening to stories. I mean, they got recordings from people from the 1960s and 70s, and some people have been sober for 50 years. Some people have been sober for 6 months. Like, they do a lot of speaker meetings out of California where they record. So it's just really cool. That's really helped me. I've listened to a Sobercast every day since I've been sober, which I think is awesome for me. I enjoy listening to people's stories and how they've overcome things in their life. Not just drinking, but drinking comes along with a lot of other problems. That's been really a blessing that I found that podcast. That's a few things that I'm kind of doing right now to stay sober. Haven't been putting myself into too many hard situations where drinking's available. There's been, we're in Wisconsin here. There's drinking everywhere. It doesn't matter what restaurant you go to. There's drinking going on, and that's been pretty hard for me to stay on the right path. Let's say, I kind of go by the motto of, let's just not drink today. If I can do that and say that every day, I can handle it. Where, I think a lot of people, when they start saying, okay, I don't want to drink anymore for the rest of my life, I don't want to drink anymore for the next 6 months, you're always looking at that last, the last day of the 6 month. Well, that, how everything in between, how tough that is to stay on pace and on track. Because I've tried it before, and it doesn't work that way. So one of that's kind of the motto I've been going to. Let's just not drink today. And if we don't drink today, you're going to be sober today. You're not going to get drunk today. So that's just kind of a saying that I've been doing for the past 95 plus days. So that's been pretty cool that I've been staying on that path with that. Otherwise, the other really thing I've been doing is just kind of setting goals for myself too. not just in with the drinking issues, but just in life in general. In my business, that we do a lot of goal setting with me and Jenny, and try to, this past January, instead of doing New Year's resolutions, we each wrote a letter to ourselves, like, when we open this, what will we have accomplished these things? Excuse me, will we be, all kinds of stuff, whether it's personal, relationship. So we did that. So a lot of goal setting I've been doing as well. That's been very helpful. So I would say the biggest ones here, though, it's been the Sobercast. Like I said, it's basically an AA meeting in your phone. Really keeps you on pace, and it's routine. It's just routine. I didn't have a chemical dependence on alcohol, so that was a blessing that I didn't have to deal with that. But it's just that the habits and certain things like that's where it was a struggle at the beginning, and especially coming through the holidays where it's a big drinking time. I made it through that. I can't say it was easy by any means, but I made it through. Like I said, with the just, I'm not gonna drink today. I know some people that have known me ask, "Well, are you never gonna drink again?" And I tell them, I can't tell you if I'm gonna drink again, because I don't know. I don't know what the future is gonna bring. I just know that today I'm not gonna drink, and we'll go from there. So that's been a huge change for me. We're gonna get another episode where I tried getting sober twice before, and kind of the mistakes I made. So that we'll keep that for another episode. But that was a lot of the big thing was before. Like, I set these dates, like, okay, I'm not gonna drink for 40 days. When I would hit it, but then day 41 would hit, 42, and I'm already thinking, okay, where are we going this weekend? So, it's just things like that, and then it's, a lot of it is growing up too, and getting older, and really putting in perspective on life. I know with the tragic events with Kobe Bryant, that really hit me hard on last Sunday when that happened, because here's a guy that's very young in age, considered 41, has it all. Busted his ass to get where he was every day, and then something so simple of taking his daughter and his daughter's teammates and friends to a basketball game, and life's over just like that. I don't care if it was in a helicopter. That could have happened. That could have happened in a car. It could happen on a bus. You just don't know. So that really hit me hard on Sunday. I was really struggling that day with some things. I had just had not an urge, and we'll get into urges too, but not an urge to drink. But I just, on Sundays usually bring up really bad memories for me. I had a lot of bad times on Sundays. A lot of my bad drinking binges happened on Sundays, where you just feel like you're doing wrong, but you don't care, and it's the allergy that takes over, and it's just crazy. So Sunday I kind of had that feeling. So I told Jen, I said, hey. We were doing some work and watching Entourage all Sunday, just having coffee, relaxing. But it was probably about 5 o'clock, so this is a few hours after the Kobe news broke. I just said, we usually try to get in routine and make a Sunday dinner, and make something together. And we didn't have some stuff in the house. I said, hey, Jen, can I just run to the store just to get out of the house? And she's like, oh, do you want me to go along with you? And I said, to be honest with you, I said, I just want to get out of the house, and I think Jenny kind of recognized that I just needed to be alone and just kind of get out and go grocery shopping, something so simple, right? But what I didn't tell her is we usually shop right down on the north side, so I took the long way to the north side, and I always go, when I always have these weird feelings, I always drive down Main Street, because Main Street to me was like my party pals, right? Especially on Sunday. Like, when I was binging on Sundays, I would go to a lot of bars on Main Street, and I would see, and I know people would see me stumbling out and at 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night, like on a Sunday, knowing damn well that there was no way I was working the next day, knowing damn well that I had either missed a dinner or missed something, some kind of function. So I always feel it like makes me feel better when I know that I'm doing something positive. I'll take a trip down Main Street and kind of look into the bars and look into the people on the streets, because I know I'm not the only one that was doing it. But it's some weird reason, it just helps me. So those are just little things that I have created for myself to stay on the right path and of recovery. Anyways, made it to the grocery store. No issues there. I love grocery shopping. Running through the store, picked up the items. On the way home, same thing. I said, I'm gonna take one more. I'm gonna go a long way and just go down once. The back down Main Street one more time, and everything was all right. And I got home and I told Jen, I said, here's. Sorry, I was a little later. I took the long way and I went. And this is why. And she was just like, she was so compassionate about it and just said, what, if that's something so little that you have to do to stay on the path, that's awesome. So, and I should say here, closing up, all these things I can say that I'm doing for myself, but the support group that I have around me has been incredible. Jenny has done more than so much for me, and I wanted to thank her on this podcast. I know she'll be she doesn't want the credit for that, but she does, and she always says to me, I'm not doing anything different. I said, no, you're supporting me, you're there for me, and she's been just incredible. And then with my my family, my dad and mom, I didn't over come out and say that I was doing this, but I think my parents had. So they knew in their own ways, there were certain things I wasn't doing these last few months that they're like, okay, like I think they get it. So my parents have always been incredibly supportive, even the times when I've been on those benders, and they've never yelled at me, but they said, you got to look inside yourself and make a change. You've got to look yourself in the mirror and say, okay, is this where you want to be right now? Is this where you want to go the rest of your life? Is this how you want to continue to act? So they've been an amazing support group. So yeah, we're mid-February already. We're rolling. Like I said, this was this kind of a thing, like what I'm doing. So like the 4 major things is the Sobercast. The me reading books, researching and reading other stories, music and workouts back into my life, and then my support system around. So those are 4 major things how I'm personally staying sober and staying accountable. For a lot of people, the AA route is the way to go. That'll save their lives, or there's other support groups too besides AA that deal with alcohol problems. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. This is episode 2. Make sure to check out our Instagram page. I haven't posted anything on there as of recent, or just when I started this, because I knew I was dropping the first podcast February 1st, and got a lot of traction already on people just looking at hashtags, following, and I think the excitement there. So we're gonna start posting stuff on there. Cool daily quotes and just cool pictures of what I'm doing, and just staying sober each day. I mean, that's if I didn't drink today, or if I don't drink today, I can't get drunk today. So that's kind of what I'm living by. For future episodes here coming up, we got an episode coming on up on how to fight urges, or how I'm fighting the urges. We have a lot of my drunken war stories are coming up, so I know those will be more comedic, because there's some tough times that happen in there, but there's some funny moments that you got to pull out of there too. And for me, I need to tell those stories for me personally, because I know some of you probably know them, or some of you have heard them, or for my close friends, but for the audience that we're hoping to grow here, they probably don't know them, and I know a lot of people have these wild stories and what happened to them while on drinking binges, let's say. So we'll get down to those for that, but otherwise, make sure to follow us on our YouTube page. Subscribe. That's where our podcast videos are going to be for now. Until I'm still looking, we're going to find a cool service that we can publish them out and put them all up on iTunes at some point as well. So stay tuned and stay sober, and have a good rest of the week.